Melodrama uses the coloring of clothing to show the audience just how much a character is affected internally as well as externally. Brian Price says, "Color has been a privileged aesthetic of melodrama, its status owed to a seemingly unique ability to depict interiority, the central preoccupation of the melodramatic imagination. Color stands as an objective correlative of the psychic malice experienced by the melodramatic protagonist in the face of overwhelming social conformity." In this video essay, I will be arguing how the female character development is symbolized by her clothing changes across the course of the film, whether these changes be clothing choices going from modest to more sexualized, or from adventurous and personalized to collected and simple. Sarah Jane, the imitation of life. Sarah Jane is a young female character dealing with being a mixed young woman in an all-white society. While she is biracial, she was raised in a white privileged home, growing accustomed to those privileges, especially since she can pass for all white. As she matures, she discovers the attraction that her body holds for men. The character of Steve Archer introduces her to the male gaze at a family dinner party, when he returns home to find Sarah Jane much more grown up than when he last saw her. According to him, she is all legs now, which gives way to how Steve now views Sarah Jane, no longer a little girl, but a desirable young woman. In Lauren Mulvey's essay, Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema, she coins the term the male gaze to embody the idea of women being objectified by men as things to look at, not be. She explains, "The determining male gaze projects its fantasy onto the female figure, which is styled accordingly. In their traditional exhibitionist role, women are simultaneously looked at and displayed, with their appearance coded for strong visual and erotic impact, so that they can be said to connote to be looked at-ness." Sarah Jane begins to adorn dresses that fit closer to the body. Her color palette is also shifted. At first, she wears lighter colored dresses in creams and pinks, but after an unfortunate event, her colors darken drastically. With the introduction of tighter dresses, a boyfriend enters Sarah Jane's life. When she goes to meet him one night, she is wearing a light yellow dress that forms well to her body. It is a perfect balance between the white, pristine identity she is striving for and the womanier idea that men perceive her in. However, when her boyfriend discovers that she is mixed, not all white, he beats her in an alley, leaving her in a dark puddle. Her once light-colored attire is now soiled with dirty, dark colors. In response to this soiling and her desire to escape the black identity her mother gave her, Sarah Jane turns to burlesque dancing. She has now entered a world of the very direct male gaze and is conforming to it. Her first burlesque costume is very dark-colored, of black and green. It is tight, corseted, and sexy. Her second burlesque costume has lighter colors, made with shiny materials to show the higher level of glamour that this burlesque lounge has over the other one. When her mother confronts her about moving away from home and losing herself in this type of work, Sarah Jane is wearing her darkest dress, one that is a deep blue and very tight. Working at a burlesque lounge and leaving her true identity behind her, the old Sarah Jane, her mother Sarah Jane, is long gone. At the end of the film, her mother has passed away from a broken heart, having lost her daughter and the joy in her life. Sarah Jane returns to see her mother, but it is too late. The very loose, all-black outfit that she adorns to the funeral displays that she can never go back to who she was and how things used to be. Even though she has returned to her mother, there is no home left for Sarah Jane. Nana, Viva sa Vive. Nana is a woman going through a divorce that leaves her homeless, poor, and broken. Her dreams of becoming a film actress begin leading her away from her crestfallen situation, but they end up following her like a dark cloud when she finds herself resorting to prostitution in order to make a living. This dark cloud is symbolized by the progression of black-colored coats that she wears throughout the film. When she starts prostituting, the first black coat she buys is somewhat shabby. It is much heavier than the black cardigan and gray trench coat, but still not satisfying the glamorous dream that Nana has for herself. In addition to the coat, Nana's wardrobe sees subtle changes from the simple black cardigan, white button-down, and gray pencil skirt to more expensive pieces. With the money that she makes from prostitution, she is able to buy a nice cream sweater, a dark skirt with a shiny belt, a black pair of shoes, a new set of heels, and some jewelry. As she's making these upgrades, her sex work becomes more mundane and boring for her. Even though she has a place to live, a job, and new clothes, it isn't what she wanted. Seeking once more to reach for her dream, Nana purchases a new black coat that has a white fur trim around the wrist and collar. This is a tribute to her acting icon, Elizabeth Taylor, who owns a much pricier version. It is Nana's dream to reach that level of stardom, so she emulates a Hollywood star. Unfortunately, Nana's story ends due to her sex work. The man that she was working for tries to sell her off to another man, but the plan does not go well. In a shootout, Nana gets shot and is left for dead in the middle of the street. Her outfit has returned to the gray trench coat, back to where she started without her dream or a happy life. Carol. The character of Carol from the 2015 Todd Haynes film Carol is unique compared to Sarah Jane and Nana. Her downfall does not come from relations with men, but rather with women. Carol struggles with living as a queer mother in the 1950s homophobic post-war society. Her costuming conforms to the modest, chic style of a 50s housewife, but she finds individualism and personality in the color of red. The color goes in and out of her wardrobe depending on the situation she is in and whom she is with. As the story progresses and Carol changes as a mother and woman, so does her wardrobe. Carol becomes attracted to a much younger woman named Therese, whom narrates the original storyline in the novel the movie is based on, The Price of Salt by Patricia Highsmith. The story follows a silent attraction between the two women as they try to hide their romance from society and their loved ones. Carol balances two roles in her life, a submissive, wealthy, and polished housewife who cares deeply for her daughter Rindy, and a lesbian woman who desires to be free to love whom she wants. As a housewife, she wears muted colors of brown and cream, especially when she's around her husband Harge. When she's around Therese, Carol's wardrobe is much more playful, adorning peeps of bright red in her hats, scarves, nails, and lips. This color becomes a symbol of Carol being free in her lesbianism. When Carol goes on a road trip with Therese, she finds a freedom away from her housewife role. To bed, she wears a red plaid pajama set that fully embodies her in a symbolic red. It is in this set of clothing that Carol grows closer to Therese, taking bigger risks such as kissing and having sex for the first time. At the same time, Carol is going through a messy divorce with Harge. The two are in the midst of a custody battle over their daughter. Carol wants to leave her husband so she can be free to love whom she wants, but also have parental rights over her daughter. Harge does not deem Carol to be morally fit to care for Rindy because of Carol's sexual preference for women. His jealousy and anger fuels him to file for full custody of their daughter. Because of the laws in the 50s, the court would easily grant him this request with appropriate evidence, which he received from a private investigator that he hired to follow Carol and Therese on the road trip. With this evidence and Carol going to therapy for her socially immoral attraction, Harge has what he needs to take Rindy away from Carol. In the scene of the custody negotiation, Carol is not wearing a stitch of red due to the choices ahead of her. The independence to love freely has been taken from her. It is in this outfit of dark blue and cream that she gives up her custody rights to Rindy in order to no longer live against her grain as a lesbian. Carol is a different woman now, living in the in-between of motherhood and homosexuality. When she approaches Therese again after the road trip and custody battle, she dresses in her housewife creams with hint of red in her nails and lips. She's balancing the two worlds, hoping that Therese will join her in this new life of free love and parenthood.